Hi, and thank you so much for joining me for this Divine Guidance Questions and Answers video. I just wanted to explain a little bit to you about how this works. So basically I will be opening up and attuning to the highest frequency possible and allowing my guides and angels to come close to me, as I usually do before I begin a reading or a tuition session or channeling. So the answer that you'll receive will be a combination of my teaching and their influence. So it's not going to be, strictly speaking, a channeled thing, although there will be a channeled aspect, and there will be times when they completely do come in and take over. So we have to be flexible with this form because that's how I'm used to working. However, there will be lots of divine input. I will be staying connected throughout the answering of the question, and hopefully you'll get something that's meaningful to you. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy these videos. Hi, and thanks so much for coming to another questions and answers video. And the question that I've got this time, I've actually got a series of questions from Laura, and thanks for these, Laura. I'm not going to answer all of them. I'm just going to answer the first one, and then I might come back and do more videos because you've got some fantastic questions in here and it would be really exciting to cover them. So the first one is wanting to know how to have a deeper connection into channeling. Because she loves her guides so much, and it's frustrating to have friends and not be able to hear or see them. Yes, indeed. So I love that one, and what I'm going to do is then just talk a little bit about my experience of connecting with them and developing my ability to connect with them, and then I'm wondering whether they might have something that they want to add to that. So I would say, first of all, as you probably already know, the time-honoured way for learning to connect with other dimensions and your friends in other dimensions is through meditation. And the reason for that, which is sort of going to touch on a question that may have been a question or not from Yuri, that was talking about psychic meditation as opposed to any other kind of meditation. Meditation with the intention of developing psychically and how and why that works. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that very quickly. So first of all, imagine that, well, we know that we've got them all around us all the time, and the veils between dimensions are getting thinner and thinner. So whether you know it or not, you are all, everyone who is even remotely sensitive and open to these ideas and to connecting, and who is seeking guidance, who is seeking a higher connection, a deeper connection, is at some point or other during most of your given days channeling. Okay, so it's when you talk to someone and you just happen to give them the right words at the right time, or you're writing something and something takes over. Novelists have talked about this for a long time, that they feel that the characters write themselves, or they feel the book writes itself. It has its own soul. So we know already that it's a faculty that is really, really simple for us. It's a natural part of being what we are. It's where we came from. They are who we left behind. So let's not overcomplicate it at all. It's as natural as breathing. And in a sense, in this time of ascension, it is as inevitable as your next breath. So let's just understand, first of all, that like many, many things that we try to achieve excellence in, it's more because we are already excellent, multifaceted, multidimensional beings of oneness, able to access all consciousness, all happenings, all gifts, all possibilities at one time, from somewhere in time and space. Because of that infinite possibility, that seed within us, that God presence that has never left us and never will, that which is truly what we are, then we are able, in a sense, to connect with those faculties, not not by trying, but by undoing everything that stops us, everything that stands in the way, the layers that we adopt, all of the consciousness and the beliefs, the preoccupations, the obsessions, the need to survive physically, in the physical reality rather. All of these things are like a shield, they are like a prevention that stand between us and remembering what we are, what we can do, what we can be, what we can bring, what we can become, what we can develop, what we can connect with. So, this is why meditation is so important, because in that space where we allow ourselves to let go of all of those externals, it's not a question of seeking anything, it's not a question of learning anything we don't already know, it's a question of taking away all that stops us from remembering in an instant that which we already know. So, when we go into meditation, imagine that in this 3D reality, it's a place of constant noise and stimulation, and it's like walking into a loud nightclub when you've come from a place of peace and serenity. And in that place of peace and serenity, where you were connected with the oneness, you were able to hear all of the voices, all of the hearts and the beings and the intentions that come from this place of oneness, of love, of light, of harmony, of spontaneous knowing and understanding, infinite understanding. So when you come into the noisy nightclub for the sake of experiencing the separation, in order to know what you already know and to feel what you already understood you might feel, but much more so, then in that place you adopt the noise in order to survive. In other words, you become a part of it. You would never stand in the middle of a noisy nightclub and try to get them to turn the music down, because you understand that that's the nature of the nightclub. However, imagine that underneath all of that, you have some very subtle and beautiful music playing in you've brought your iPod in or something like that, and you can hear this subtle and beautiful music when you leave the nightclub. And when you return to the nightclub, it goes in the midst of all the noise. So in a sense, what meditation allows us to do is to remove ourselves from the noisy nightclub. And the sound, the beautiful subtle music, is everything that you would call not of the physical reality. So it's the past, the present, the future as one. It's your memories of your past, present and future, your knowing of your collective past, present and future, your knowing of all things. It's the noises, it's the sounds, it's the impulses that come from within your being. It's what comes to you from Creator. It's what connects you and reminds you of your knowing that you are Creator, that you are connected to Creator and not separate from it. And it's also those angelic beings and guides from all dimensions who are constantly speaking to you and constantly existing within this realm of spontaneous, flowing, immediate oneness and being and consciousness of oneness. So when you are in that space where you step outside of the nightclub, you become, to some extent, a part of that oneness, or rather you say, I am showing my willingness to become a part of that oneness again, and to hear the quieter music. So the nightclub, in other words, the need to work, the need to shop, the need to cook, the need to speak on the phone, the need for the internet, the need for all of the trappings and the traps of physical reality. You leave them, you put them to one side, and you go into the quiet place where you can simply sit, breathe, and show your willingness that from out of the silence you will begin to hear once again those subtle and melodious promptings that you wish to hear. To become more excellent in this, because in a sense I'm going over old ground, and I know that you will already know this when you listen. So how to go deeper. How to go deeper and how to become more excellent in your ability to hear, to see, to sense, to feel, to know, to understand that reality. It's simply a question of a consistent conviction. In other words, the thought that this is what you desire is never far from your mind. And so at any opportunity to go within that quiet space and be listening, that's where you are. That becomes the default position. Nowadays it's very, very easy in our reality for the default position to be all of the activity, all of the busyness, all of the things that keep our lives stable, that keep us trained on the reality, the three-dimensional reality. So we stay focused on this. When we're stressed, we return to it. When we're relaxed, we return to it. When we're planning, we return to it. This is the default mechanism. But what if, when we were truly relaxed, we became a little more deeply relaxed, and we decided that now, instead of relaxing by watching the television or doing some hobby or whatever, we were to make a conscious decision to breathe more deeply and to let go more deeply, and to allow ourselves to see the colours, to hear the sounds, to embrace everything that's of the non-physical world. And in time, it's a question of building on this reality and allowing this to become the new reality. This, in a sense, is the process of ascension. So the more we acknowledge this reality by meditating, by adopting as much as is humanly possible a meditational attitude, which we will slip from time to time, making a note of what happens within the meditation and therefore calling that more into our experience, in other words, making it more real, speaking to that part of ourselves which belongs in that continuum. In other words, speaking to ourselves differently within ourselves. And we can come to this in more detail in another video, because I can feel that there's an impulse here to elaborate, and it will take a lot of elaborating. So ask me to speak more on this in the future and I'll come back to it. So speak to your guides. Go into that meditation, speak and listen. Don't try to make anything up. Don't try to make the experience anything at all. Remember that it's a shedding of experience in order to allow something greater to evolve and to emerge from the silence. So for example, if you were learning to sing, I might say to you, you can already sing beautifully. That's a part of your being, it's a part of your self-expression. So really what we need to do is to erase from your body, your being, your consciousness, particularly your thought processes, everything that tells you you can't sing, and allow the music to flow. Okay, I hope that's helpful to you, Laura, and I'll be back with more of those questions. Great questions. Thanks for listening. Bye.